Hi everyone, I'm back with another episode of Sharyar's Voice, and today I have with me Rauff. I came across Rauff's profile, I think, a couple of months ago, and he's literally into the Pakistani startup scene. And आज रऊफ को बुलाने की वजह यही थी कि बहुत कुछ हो रहा है पाकिस्तानी startup scene के अंदर. A lot of new players are coming in, old players are going out, and a lot of other things are happening, a lot of events are happening, and there's a lot of international attention towards Pakistan as well. So yeah, let's begin. Rauf, थोड़ा सा अगर आप अपना introduction देना चाहेंगे to our audiences, and then we can continue.
Yeah. Hi, Shreya. Thank you so much for having me on this podcast. So basically, around 1 year back, the backstory behind all of this, the reporting and stuff. So around 1 year back, I just wanted to get into the startup ecosystem of Pakistan. And I have tried my fair share of like ventures when I was 16 and 15 years old. My first venture was actually like basically, it was called Assign a Task, which was basically like for blue collar workers, a marketplace for blue collar workers.
Okay.
And it was all through WhatsApp. But that didn't pan out, and I had to close off in like 6 to 8 months. And after that, I just interned at different places, and I'm still learning a lot through these different internships and different jobs that I do on the side, right? So basically, 1 year back, I wanted to get into the scene, right? Get into the startup ecosystem and explore it, because I believe that PR building is important. And I started covering the ecosystem, and that was actually the launch of Founder Pakistan, which was in November of 2021. So the first, like basically, the first few months were directionless, I must say, because I didn't really know what to cover, and heck, I didn't even know how to write basically. Like I was saying, yeah, I can write, but not that
Yeah,
proper
मतलब like
wali sense के ऊपर.
article और blog style के अंदर लिखना.
Yeah,
सही.
exactly. But so इसके लिए मतलब कि I was interning at this one place called Be Secure Checkout. I think it's okay to name them. But yeah, so I was doing their SEO and blogging for their website. It's a SaaS solution. It's a checkout solution. उसके जैसे और भी solutions हैं पाकिस्तानी market में. So I did that for like 3 months, and उसके बाद I took a break from internships and I joined another startup, this amazing startup called Farmaish, which is a conversational commerce startup. And the, the CEO there is one of my mentors. His name is Hamad Daud. And वहाँ पे I gained a lot of experience. वहाँ से I went to different agencies. I interned at Jack of Digital. I interned at Ranger Communications. It's one of the largest advertising companies in Pakistan. It comes on number 1, basically, in terms of ad spend, I would say. So basically, वहाँ पे मैंने किया, all these different exposures allowed me to communicate well and in order and write well as well, right? So that is how the tech journey began. And उधर से फिर I did my first hit story as well. But I just went up.
So do you before like abhi Founder Pakistan mein aap is it like a solo venture, or you have people with you as well working, or it's just you?
I don't have any partners. I have people. I have mentors that do help me throughout the journey. I have contributors that help me through the content. Like for example, I get a lot of contributions. Like okay, we want to we want to write about this. Is it okay for Founder Pakistan, stuff like that? So I get all of these contributions as well, and basically like I have these interns, which who just contacted me themselves, and they just wanted to experience the startup ecosystem and the tech journalism ecosystem. So yeah,
it's pretty nice. And also like even when I was in Pakistan a year ago, the thing is that Pakistani startup ecosystem के लिए हमारा जो print or digital journalism है, it's so politicized, because I've worked for a couple of digital media outlets as well, and there was a serious lack of digital media outlets to सिर्फ इस niche को cover करें. I know about Profit, I know about, I think it's सिर्फ Profit ही है. Profit के अलावा मतलब बाकी सारा डिजिटल एंड प्रिंट इज सो मच पोलिटिसाइज्ड कि हमें इस तरह के और प्लेटफॉर्म्स की जरूरत, लाइक स्टार्टअप पाकिस्तान एंड ऑल ऑफ द प्रो पाकिस्तानी एंड ऑल ऑफ दीस प्लेटफॉर्म्स, ये भी आई डोंट नो, ये बहुत ज्यादा मुझे क्लिक बेटी और अगेन मतलब सेंसेशनलाइज करने वाली न्यूज कवरेज लगती है इनकी. एंड आई वाज गोइंग थ्रू योर पोस्ट एंड योर आर्टिकल्स व्हिच इज लाइक बहुत ऑथेंटिक किस्म की रिपोर्टिंग हुई होती है. एंड coming on to my question, do you feel like you've been following this for a while now? Do you feel like कि अभी जो पाकिस्तान में हो रहा है, is it more like सिर्फ cloud चल रहा है या some real progress is happening as well? क्योंकि we see like 6 digit 7 digit numbers right हमारी LinkedIn feed पर आ जाते हैं. Is it more cloud या असल में कोई progress हो रही है?
So let me tell you, in the beginning, ठीक है, when I was attracted to the startup ecosystem, सही है, as a kid, मतलब कि अपने एक साल पहले मैंने कहा I'm calling myself a kid because I was immature, I didn't know anything. So
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
even after this cloud, as we must say. So basically, in the beginning, it was all cloud, but now I'm seeing like founders who have some kind of substance,
Okay.
founders who are actually doing something that provides some kind of value. So this all started, I believe, after the few exits or the close-ups that we saw. And now even the VC mindset is changing, and even the founder mindset is changing. They're not really after a lot of funding. But they can. Funding is not the measure of success. Funding is आपने भाई पैसे raise कर दिए. Now the real game begins then, right? You
Yeah.
have to utilize that cash. You have to utilize your investor trust. That is how it begins. Cloud chasing पहले था, and there's still some people who may be cloud chasing, and I am no one to just pinpoint at them, but I am seeing a lot of people, a lot of founders who are just coming up now, who are with substance.
And even I've noticed, I've met a couple of them as well when I was in Lums. The thing is that मैं ये भी देख रहा हूँ कि बहुत सारे founders, apart from their own startup and whatever they're working on, they're also trying to do the personal branding and PR वाला part. They're going to workshops, they're going to events, they're giving talks, they're more like they're coming on to podcasts, like without naming anyone, but मैं खुद भी देख रहा हूँ कि they also realize the potential कि how important personal branding and PR is. अगर आप और मैं इस वक्त बैठ के बात कर रहे हैं और जो ये लोग देख रहे होंगे, दे रियलाइज दिस इज वेल कि ओके, एक तो टेक्निकल साइड ऑफ अ स्टार्टअप होती है जहाँ पे आपने पिच डेक बना दिया, आपने 3 VCs के सामने जाके पिच कर दिया, वो तो सब इंटरनल गेम है. लेकिन क्लाउड बिल्डिंग उस स्टार्टअप के लिए भी इंपॉर्टेंट है. तभी वाइडर मार्केट्स में लोग बात करेंगे ना, हाँ यार उसका उसका आपने चेक किया कि वो किस तरह परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं, वो किस तरह परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं. How important do you think for emerging startups in Pakistan, considering we are still considered as a, मतलब अभी भी हमारा काफी emerging और developing scene है. People still don't know about us on the international scale. How important do you think branding and PR is for all these new startups, wannabe startups?
I believe it is important for every one of them. Even if I speak about individuals, it is
Yeah,
important for an individual aspect as well, and it is important from the startup aspect as well. Okay, but the thing is that people will only invest in the brand of the founder or how the
yeah,
founders are, right? So
yeah,
it's important for them to build a personal brand as well. If you like if you don't have a personal brand in a way कि मतलब कि like for example there are still some people who have a personal brand offline and some people have a personal brand online, so there is a bit of a difference between them. So I've seen different founders who have a personal brand offline, and that is much more meaningful in a way. So the online presence is important, but the offline thing accelerates it, right?
yeah. It does, it does.
Yeah.
ये भी
So
जरूरी
we're
है.
speaking about workshops and talks and all of this is important because uh, it's not just about attracting investors, it's about attracting clientele, it's about attracting human resources in a way, right? So capital is one aspect of it, but there are other ways where you can utilize your PR in order to build your company from ground up.
Yeah, that's important as well. And even for when it comes to like online branding, you don't have to necessarily be in Pakistan as well. Like if you're a
Exactly.
founder, you're building something in Pakistan, you can sit in, I don't know, anywhere in the world. You
Mm.
can come on Zoom, you can talk to people in Pakistan, you can come on to podcasts, you can come on to like our mainstream television as well, which is बल्कि मुझे उसके बारे में बात करनी थी कि हमारा mainstream media अभी भी, because I've been associated with media in some sense, अभी भी उस तरह startup scene को cover नहीं करता. Okay, you can get like big wigs like Dr. Umar Saif कभी आ जाएंगे जियो पर या किसी और बड़े चैनल पर आ जाएंगे and they'll talk about theirs. But जो हमारे emerging founders हैं वो अभी भी हमारे मेन स्ट्रीम मीडिया पे नहीं आते. लाइक यू डोंट सी एन ऑपेड ऑन डॉन इन डॉन या द नेशन के पाकिस्तान के स्टार्टअप सीन में ये हो रहा है. इट्स स्टिल वेरी लिमिटेड टू डिजिटल. डू यू एग्री विद दिस? लाइक
I actually don't, because
okay.
now these publications are now rising up because they are seeing the potential of this. Because, for example, Don is doing a great job. Like Don had this, like 2 years back, I believe Mutahir Khan from Don was leading the column. It was called Tech Talk. अभी भी शायद हो रहा है. मतलब कि he used to interview people and cover startups, profile startups basically. And there are other publications as well जो अभी कर रही हैं, like they are starting to like cover the ecosystem, because that is good as well. Of course, you won't get a lot of traffic towards covering the tech ecosystem and the startup ecosystem, but it's still a nice and a must have for them, and they're starting to realize it.
Yeah, मतलब हाँ ऐसा ऐसा as like when they'll realize this as well that this is getting attention. There's so many viewership,
Yeah.
there's so many audience, and especially for the English outlets उनके लिए तो ये, because most of the people who are like privy who read and consume content in English उनके लिए तो वैसे भी they know कि क्या हो रहा है in the startup scene. But again, coming on to the limitations part, एक और चीज जो है जो पाकिस्तान में बहुत I would say prevalent है कि still very much all of this activity is Karachi, Lahore and Islamabad. That's it. Like जिसको हम KLI बोलते हैं, I don't know in recruitment terms. Do you feel like कि अगले I don't know like अगले 2 से 3 साल में we might expand into, let's say, not even the smaller cities, वो तो बहुत दूर की बात है, but let's say Faisalabad, Multan, I don't know, maybe Bahawalpur, maybe Hyderabad, like all of these smaller cities which have young, educated, like relatively well off people who want to get into the scene, लेकिन सिर्फ अपनी वो proximity की वजह से वो उनको कराची मूव होना पड़ता है या लाहौर जाना पड़ता है, इस्लामाबाद जाना पड़ता है to actually do something, right?
Yeah, so basically, I believe it is going to be KLI for the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, more than that. But I see different like cities rising up now. One example is Faisalabad. Faisalabad already has a very robust like business ecosystem, and it's just like uh, a must have for them, and it's a nice app, and they're working on it, I believe. And then if you talk about smaller cities like Hyderabad, these incubations are now trying to go towards these smaller cities as well, and they're targeting them. But it is going to take some time to be built over the years, right? So it's not going to happen rapidly, but I believe we are going to see more startups popping up from these places as well. For example, एक startup है, they operate in smaller cities. It's a quick commerce or a commerce startup. It's called Batul.
Okay.
Like for example, they recently raised funding as well. मुझे नहीं पता कितने थी, but मतलब कि this is one example. मतलब कि they're not that mainstream, but in a sense कि मतलब कि they are mainstream at where they operate in, right?
Yeah.
So मतलब कि if we talk about these startups, they are going to be catering to that market before popping into like KLI.
Yeah.
I believe.
And I feel like even the smaller towns, because I was kind of like I've lived in Faisalabad as well. It's my hometown, but the thing is that like cities have a very specific niche. Yani, matlab, agar you're talking about agriculture startups, there's no better place than the city of Faisalabad because it's literally a gold mine when it comes to agriculture. Like in fact, Faisalabad ki jo agriculture university hai, I think it's one of the biggest in Asia, last I checked, in terms of जो वहाँ पे facilities हैं. इसी तरह if you go up north, so our ये जो Airbnb type हमारे startups जो north में जैसे Gilgit और Hunza वाली side, हाँ, I think I know one of them as well. I think she was in IBA जिसने Rumi बना. I'm not sure though. But the thing is कि हमारे कुछ cities भी इतने specific हैं कि हम उन startups को उनके tailor base भी कर सकते हैं. जैसे when it comes to food, okay, कराची और लाहौर हो गया, या when it comes to Q-commerce, तब कराची लाहौर okay is are the big cities. But when it comes to something else, like when it comes to let's say tourism की मैंने मिसाल दे दी, but there are a lot of like handicrafts की बात कर लेते हैं, like up north there are a lot of home based domestic workers, home workers जो handicrafts बनाती हैं, उनकी एक marketplace बना देना, तो वो आप हुंजा में कर सकते हो, and then there is a lot of other stuff as well.
I believe one startup called Atoms, right? Atoms से
Yeah,
पहले वो
Atoms,
like
but Atoms तो New York
Atoms से
based
पहले
है,
नहीं उससे पहले they were doing something related to handicrafts before
अच्छा,
moving to New York. Yeah, so
the
that is like
Atom is a great success story. Like
yeah.
it's something like to a couple, and I think one of them was even a dropout. He didn't even finish. I think the guy didn't even finish his masters or something. They just moved to New York and they just created something amazing. Like that's a been following that story as well. I want to move on to the second part. For those who are watching who are still very much new to the Pakistani startup scene or the startup scene in general, can you just explain us फंड रेजिंग का जो पूरा प्रोसीजर होता है, लाइक सीट ए क्या होती है, सीट बी क्या होती है, प्री सीट क्या होता है, इन अ वेरी शॉर्ट layman terms if you can, like for everyone who's watching, वो जो अभी भी ना इंटर्न से ना थोड़े से वो जाते हैं कि okay what does pre-seed mean, what does seed A mean, if you can like.
Yeah, definitely I will try to. So basically pre-seed is like when you have an idea. अभी मैं आपके पास आता हूँ, hey Shayar, I have an idea. But it's related to Q-commerce in Pakistan, which is one of the most like go-to categories. For
Yeah.
example, ये मेरी pitch नहीं है, but I come to you and you like my pitch, and I only have an idea. I don't even have a product built up right now. I haven't even started. मैंने कुछ start भी नहीं किया है.
Yeah.
But I come to you, you like my pitch, you give me some money, right? And then I go to different investors like you who are going to hand me like small checks. और उससे मैं मेरे जो idea I was started. That is pre-seed. अब seed के अंदर ये है कि मतलब कि I have started the idea. It's gotten some traction. For example, अगर मेरा कोई product है, उसका मैंने basic का version बना दिया है और मेरे पास 10 से 15 paying customers आ गए. अब सीट के ऊपर मैं जाऊंगा कि I will go to investor. For example, I come to you again and I'm like, you invested in our pre-seed. Now this is our progress. Would you like to invest a bit more so we can expand on this category and get more paying customers?
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Series A is like basically सीरीज ए टू सी तक मतलब कि आपके अंदर इसके अंदर ज्यादा पैसे आना शुरू हो जाते हैं, बट इट एक्चुअली डिपेंड्स ऑन योर ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड एज वेल. व्हेन यू हैव अगर सीड के ऊपर लाइक आफ्टर रेजिंग अ सीड यू फॉर एग्जांपल मेरे पास पहले थे 10 से 15 कस्टमर्स, अब मेरे पास कस्टमर्स हो गए 500 से 700, जस्ट एग्जांपल. तो उसके बाद देन आई कैन रेज मोर मनी थ्रू सीरीज ए बी सी. दिस इज ऑल ग्रोथ स्टेजेस. एंड सीरीज बी से लेके सी तक इट इज हार्ड टू रेज. मतलब कि इतना आसान रेज करना नहीं है. सीरीज ए तक थोड़ा हो जाता है, बट सीरीज बी से सी तक इट इज नॉट लाइक इजी टू रेज इन माय ओपिनियन. इसको मैंने थोड़ी सही से शायद मैंने बताया नहीं है. इट विल बी स्टिल ट्रिकी.
And I feel like अभी तक सीरीज सी का तो मैंने सुना भी नहीं है in our market. मैंने बी
सीरीज
तक
बी
का
तक हुआ है.
हाँ बी तक हुआ. And do you feel like ये startups completely dependent होते हैं on the source of funding, या ये अपनी revenue streams को भी इतना strong करते हैं कि in case we don't make it to the next round, ऐसा ना हो कि हम बिल्कुल collapse कर जाएं. इनको अपनी revenue streams पे भी focus करना चाहिए, because we've seen some I would call it failed startups, because they kind of like kept on relying on their investor base and ended up overspending, and then they had to close shop. तो मतलब
first you have to recognize कि ये जो startups जो fail हुए हैं, these were at series A to B वाली stages and beyond, right? They were trying to raise more money. But this was at growth stages, and when you grow so big, right, you have a lot of expenses. And फिर उसके अंदर मतलब कि if you can't really extend your runway is basically like अगर मेरे पास बैंक के अंदर $1,00,000 पड़े हैं तो मेरे महीने का एक्सपेंस ये है, तो मतलब कि ये मुझे क्या बोलते हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल $1,00,000 मुझे 12 महीने तक चल जाएंगे, तो ये मेरे रनवे. अब मेरे पास अगर मैं इस रनवे को एक्सटेंड नहीं कर पाऊंगा, एंड यू हैव टू एक्सटेंड योर रनवे थ्रू कॉस्ट कटिंग. और फिर शुरू के हम लोग देख रहे थे these startups were like laying off people, right? This was just to extend the runway, right? So they don't have to rely on investor funding, because when they started raising money, right, they started just going on to burst of hiring, and they just onboarded people and corrupted the job market in a way. Not corrupted, it was like basically job market was like basically
एक kind of वो artificial एक तरह से उन्होंने वो कर दिया था कि
boom आया था.
हाँ एक बूम आया था और आई रिमेम्बर ये बूम तकरीबन आई थिंक कोविड के 6 महीने बाद आया था और इस साल के शुरू शुरू में ये बूम आहिस्ता आहिस्ता नीचे जाना शुरू हो गया. Having said that, हाँ ये तो है, like I think this is something which we need to still work on, and I feel like थोड़ा सा अगर हम इंटरनेशनल स्टेज पे बात करें, जो मैंने थोड़ा सा ऑब्जर्व किया है कि हम ज्यादा दूर नहीं जाते, हम सिर्फ इंडिया को देख लेते हैं as a benchmark, and despite everything, India has what I think when we talk about unicorns, I think India is, last I checked, I'm not sure though, 100 plus बन गए हैं या तकरीबन उतने हैं वहाँ पे या something like that, and everything is literally the same. हमारी conditions, हमारा socio-economic background, हमारा education level, everything is the same. ठीक है, they have more manpower, that's it. उसके अलावा everything is perhaps the same. So I feel like अगर हम थोड़ा सा इंडिया की तरफ भी मैप ऑन, अभी मैंने देखा है थोड़ा थोड़ा क्रॉस प्लेटफॉर्म, इवन इन पॉडकास्ट में देख रहा होता है कि पाकिस्तानी फाउंडर्स और इंडियन फाउंडर्स साथ आ रहे होते हैं, साथ बैठ रहे होते हैं, they're talking about the whole scene in South Asia and all. But I want to talk about this because हमारी रिपोर्टिंग के अंदर पाकिस्तान को हम मैप कर देते हैं मीन ऐप के अंदर, लाइक मिडल ईस्ट, नॉर्थ अफ्रीका एंड पाकिस्तान, या टर्की शर्की और इजिप्ट के साथ हमें मिला दिया जाता है. However, I feel like that is the wrong approach. It's my opinion. अगर हम पाकिस्तान को साउथ एशिया वाले उसमें रखें, and we just compare Pakistan, India and Bangladesh as 3 countries with their own startup scenes, I feel like that is the better approach. क्योंकि जब हमें मीनाप के अंदर लोग कवर करते हैं, इनफैक्ट एक पब्लिकेशन में मैं उनका नाम भूल गया हूँ, मीना बाइट्स, या आई थिंक वो भी पाकिस्तानी ही है, नॉट श्योर दो, और एक और भी है, एशिया समथिंग भी है,
टेक इन एशिया,
या टेक इन एशिया प्रॉब्ली. पर वो हमेशा पाकिस्तान को, बिकॉज मेरा थोड़ा ह्यूमैनिटीज और आर्ट्स का बैकग्राउंड है यहाँ पे, हमें हमेशा उस रीजन के अंदर रखा जाता है, लाइक सऊदी स्टार्टअप्स के साथ और दुबई के स्टार्टअप्स के साथ और रियाद के स्टार्टअप्स के साथ मैच कर रहे होते हैं. डू यू फील लाइक दैट इज द राइट अप्रोच, और हमें थोड़ा सा अपनी इसी वाले इस ज्योग्राफी में रहना चाहिए? I don't know, it's a very nuanced question.
Yeah, I believe it is the right approach, because if we speak about Pakistani startups, they can't expand into like India or like Bangladesh. They can't expand.
I think they can't even do Bangladesh. मतलब वो भी नहीं कर सकते हम.
It depends. It depends. Yeah. Bangladeshi startup, for example, goes there and expanded into Pakistan, so that can happen. Yeah. Then a Pakistani startup can expand into Bangladesh, but because of politics, Indian startups cannot expand into Pakistan. Yeah. So that is the close of market. So इस वजह से भी शायद ये भी हो सकता है कि मतलब because of this, we have these Middle East and North Africa wali markets, like Turkish markets and all
political
that.
वो भी नहीं है, वहाँ पे we can easily
exactly
move into. Because even like I'm not sure if you follow cricket, but अगर आप India, like Byju's was a startup, it was an ed tech startup, और आज वो FIFA World Cup और cricket sponsor कर रहा है. It was literally an ed tech startup based out of, I think, Hyderabad, or I'm not sure though,
Bangalore.
But Bangalore probably, that is their, like, India ki Silicon Valley is Bangalore.
Yeah.
But imagine the potential, like if you want to, because I also I've been reaching out to Indian founders as well, and like through my Indian friends here, okay, I want to get them on board as well. If you just look at the potential, because like you have Zomato over there, we have Kareem over here, but there's so much to talk about, like in terms of how we can collaborate, or even like अगर हम startups collaborate ना भी करें, हम सिर्फ बात भी करें उसके बारे में, so there's a lot to, I don't know, learn from each other maybe in that way.
Yeah, that can happen, but that will happen on a limited stage. Yeah, थोड़ा बहुत बढ़ भी सकता है, but sadly that will happen on a limited stage, I believe. Like for example, if you talk about countries such as Singapore and Middle East, वहाँ पे Pakistani Indian founders are meeting themselves, right?
Yeah,
so this is kind of like they are collaborating there. So it is only collaborations are only possible in these markets as well, right? Yeah. It's not possible in the country itself. So that is one of the things.
That's true as well. We're almost.
And there needs to be a forum, like to communicate.
हाँ, मैंने individual efforts देखे हैं, Like I'll have another person on my podcast tonight. Maybe inshallah I'll publish that as well. And I've seen him in on podcasts with other Indian like he's a product manager himself. So I've seen him podcast karte with product Indian product managers, let's say sitting in like San Francisco and like other places, or even like Pakistani Indian big tech employees. Like imagine three people, four people, 4 or 5 Indians, 4 or 5 Pakistanis working in let's say Meta or Google, और वो एक प्लेटफॉर्म पर आके ये बताएं कि और साउथ एशियंस इन बिग टेक प्लेसेस में कैसे, because if you go to the big tech marketplace, वहाँ पाकिस्तानी इंडियंस ऑब्वियसली हमसे ज्यादा हैं, but they literally मतलब वो लंच साथ कर रहे होते हैं, वो चिलिंग साथ कर रहे होते हैं, if you look at their Instagram stories and all. So why can't we just like get them on board and like let's say like, talk about all of this as well? Like this is something I'm looking forward to as well. Yeah, I
That
think
is possible.
yeah I think we're almost 40ish minute mark पे आते हैं, तो इसको like we can take this towards the end. What do you feel like let's if you pick like अभी मैंने आपकी एक post भी देखी थी about the Q-commerce वाले startups. What do you feel like is the future of Q-commerce in, let's say, in a city like Karachi? Because Q-commerce ka pura USP is quick delivery, right? And in a city like Karachi, you never know what's gonna happen. So how do you feel like those startups are banking on that? Like what's gonna happen in that space?
So basically, if we speak about Pakistani commerce perspective, सही है. Pakistan में पहली बात है like e-commerce started in around 2012, right?
Yeah, I think Daraz
सही है? 20.
was the
Yeah, the
start
Raz
of the scene.
was the first players to like rocket internet launch किया फिर आए. उससे पहले local born players भी थे, home shopping हो गया, iShopping हो गया,
हाँ,
and countless other examples. सही है? And e-commerce was still growing, and during the COVID time, it went like boom. सही है?
yeah.
अब थोड़ा अभी वो क्या बोलते हैं, that was coming to a standstill, and that is the same with Q-commerce as well. So basically, we saw one of the biggest startups in Q-commerce closing in Pakistan. And Matakil, right now there's only a few players who are banking on it. One is Food Panda. Food Panda is having a major monopoly in the market. And if we speak about other startups that are targeting a certain niche, for example, they're targeting like groceries and all of that.
Yeah.
But I believe the growth is like on a standstill, or like for example, जो COVID के time से जो growth आई थी ना, that is depreciating in a way because
Oh, okay.
uh,
But do you feel like इसमें seasonal fluctuations आ सकती हैं? I'm not sure about it, but if you're just talking about the Pakistani market, let's say Ramzan, the month of Ramzan, do you feel like इस तरह के जो Q-commerce startups होते हैं, they might get some like seasonal uplift?
of
Because
course they do.
because I know my family members, like my mom now uses certain apps for grocery deliveries, right? Like matlab she doesn't go out anymore because बाहर जाएं traffic में फंसे, parking वाले को पैसे दें, जाएं बैठें, rush and all of that, right? So I feel like हाँ, you're right about that fact कि शायद growth इतनी ना हो because
But the thing you have to see as well, these traditional mom and pop players, like mom and pop, तो नहीं कहूँगा इनको मैं, like traditional family players like Imtiaz, Nahid,
yeah,
are now Imtiaz, Nahid, Al Fateh are now waking up, right?
yeah,
And they're saying कि मतलब कि like these e-commerce players are now taking our customers. So now we have to do something, right?
yeah.
So they're coming up with their own solutions. So we
They
see a
might they
tussle
might
between
start
these.
delivery. They might start delivery as well. Like if they have, I think
Naeed actually started their e-commerce platform, right? And it is going pretty well. Al
yeah,
Fateh is expanding into Karachi and other cities as well.
yeah,
It's because they already have a location, right? For example, if I look at China ki example of Alibaba ki store, I forgot the name, right? So that they have a conveyor belt for like taking the stuff outside for the delivery riders. And वो उसी जगह पे
oh,
कर रहे होते. So these players have an advantage as they have these big locations, right? They don't have to open like small छोटी दुकानें like
yeah,
dark stores anywhere. They don't have to invest on it. They already have that infrastructure. They just have to utilize that, and they have to build a tech upon that in order to
mm,
get the demand. They
yeah.
already have the demand. They already have a customer base. They just have to play the game, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I feel like अभी भी बहुत time लगेगा for the masses to get onto the bandwagon कि हम जी app से order कर रहे हैं and all of that. And I feel
Your
like
masses still go to Karyanas. Your
yeah, and
masses still are going to Karyanas.
the traditional Pakistani consumer अगर उसको आटा लेना है या चीनी लेनी है, दाल लेना है, सब्जियां लेनी है, they would want to go in there, अपने हाथ से उठाएंगे, देखेंगे, like when it comes to like fruits and all ये जो मतलब perishable items होते हैं. अब अगर उनको हम ये बोल दें कि आप ये घर पे ऑर्डर कर लो, मतलब वो satisfaction level उस तरह का नहीं होगा. Like even if you're talking about कराची, अगर आप क्लिफ्टन DHA और like PCHS के एरिया से निकलें, like there are a lot of people living in Karachi who might have a smartphone, but वो अपने घर के करियाना स्टोर पे जाएंगे, जो मतलब उनका जो लोकल यूटिलिटी स्टोर होगा या करियाना स्टोर होगा, to get stuff, right? So
Yeah, if you live in a cross proximity of these like big retail outlets and all of that, you will still choose like in a way like I'm just talking about. Okay, you will still choose like going out and just buying the stuff because आपकी दुकान 2 मिनट दूर है
yeah,
या
that's
अगर
true.
3 मिनट दूर है.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
when you order from like a quick commerce page, it's not really quick. It takes like 40 minutes to 1 hour, right?
Yeah,
तो मतलब कि अगर मुझे छोटी छोटी आइटम्स चाहिए, so I will just go out to the store, the neighborhood store. But it depends on the type of the customer that we are talking about, the type of the SSC class that we're talking about. From a master's point of view, there will be a lot of behavioral changes that are supposed to happen, and that will take time. And as you mentioned, इससे पहले when you compared Pakistani market to India wali, that they have unicorns. Aसल में, the thing is that venture capital started coming into Pakistan in like 2015, 2016, 2017, 18. और इंडिया के अंदर पहले से ही चली थी. इंडिया के अंदर ऑलरेडी स्टार्टअप्स वहां से ऑलरेडी बिल्डअप हो रहे थे एंड दे वर जस्ट getting a pace, right? फ्लिपकार्ट हो गया, like for example पेटीएम हो गया, whatever that,
जोमेटो हो गया,
जोमेटो हो गया.
बहुत सारे इंडिया इंडिया का तो. And I feel like I genuinely have this belief, or if even if you look at it, whatever happens in India, वो 10 से 15 साल बाद हमारे पास आता है. Like if you look at our film, culture, entertainment, startups, education, everything, right? Like इंडिया
Yeah.
में जो भी होता है वो 10 से, despite all the political barriers, वो रिपल इफेक्ट आ जाता है हमारे पाकिस्तान बांग्लादेश के अंदर वो चीजें आना शुरू हो जाती हैं, because you can't stop it, right? You can't stop progress in that way. Yeah, that's about it. We're almost 45-minute mark पे, and थोड़ा सा इसको एंड करते हैं. एक तो आई वांट टू नो अबाउट इफ यू बीन टू लाइक ये जो कोवर्किंग स्पेसेस कराची और इस्लामाबाद में बन रही हैं. आई वांट टू नो मोर अबाउट दैट, बिकॉज like young people who are watching who want to like get a place in one of these co-working spaces, how does that work? Is it worth it or not? And yeah, like what's your opinion about all of these co-working spaces? Like, do you feel like
So,
it's a viable thing?
yeah, that was a good question. So I believe it is a viable thing for like freelancers and small teams. And as your team grows, they have customizable solutions for that as well. So
Yeah,
for them, it is more about retaining you as you grow your company or as you grow your venture, right?
yeah,
And but again, when you're going there as an early startup, you're not just signing up for the location, you're signing up for the community, you're signing up for the companies that are being built up there. So
I think we lost you here. Yep, we were talking about the co-working space wala scene, the emerging co-working space scene. Yeah, can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you as well.
Again, man.
What happened? Gee, sorry for the disruption, guys. थोड़े से हमारे technical मसले हो गए थे. But yeah, Rauf, you're back. What do you think about the co-working space scene in Karachi,
So
let's say?
yeah, so I've been to a lot of co-working spaces in Karachi. So I've been to Kickstart, I've been to Hive, uh, and all of these co-working spaces. Like I believe when you're signing up for a co-working space, you're not just signing for the location, you're signing for the network and the
Yeah,
connections that you
that's true.
build up. over
That's
there,
true.
right?
That's true. That's
It's more
true.
about getting into that network and try to build your startup through those network effects.
Yeah. I feel like that's
Yeah.
true because I was at Daftar Khan when I went to Lahore. I was in Lahore. I was in Pakistan in the summers, so I Lahore gaya tha for like to visit a friend and all. And I saw the network over there and like the kind of integration that happens in those places is very important. And thus we are almost at the end. Again, sorry for the technical
Hmm.
disruption, guys. The thing is that
I believe Collabs is
collabs, yeah,
like
collabs is very nice.
Collabs is doing a good job.
Collabs is very nice as well. And thus we're moving towards the end, and I feel like just closing remarks from my side as well that I feel like whatever is happening in the Pakistani startup scene, if you're still in university or if you're still like if you're just graduating, you look for jobs and all. A lot of us do aspire stability in a lot of ways, especially given the uncertain circumstances जो हर वक्त होते रहते हैं पाकिस्तान में. But I feel like at least because I worked in a startup for a couple of years before I moved here. So I feel like हर किसी को 1 से 1.5 साल उस grind के अंदर देना चाहिए. You get to learn a lot and you get to network a lot. And after that grind, okay, you can go for a stable 9 to 5 sort of a thing. But I want to just know your opinion on that as well as a closing remark. How important it is to work for a startup or be involved in that whole scene, at least for a couple of years or at some point in time.
Yeah. So can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. So basically, like I believe I worked in my fair share of startups over these a couple of years that so that actually changed a lot because from there I learned how to do the grinding and all. So that really helped me in the journey of building Founder Pakistan as well. Because
Yeah,
when you're building up something, you have to be like, okay,
what happened? Yeah, we're back. So yeah, it was fun, and thank you, Roof, for making
thank you
it to
so much for
the
your time.
podcast and थोड़े से technical मसले हो गए थे, but I hope everyone watching it enjoys it. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. And this will be available not only on YouTube, but Spotify, Apple, and all other platforms as well. And yeah, I feel let's hope for the best for the Pakistani startup scene. I hope we get to see a lot more success stories, a lot more people making it to the list. And yeah, that's it from my side. Bye, guys.